What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another special edition of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast, where we're going to be rolling along here with our mock draft of all time and getting into some personal pay-per-view cards that we're creating out of our rosters. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango. Joining me, as always, are Callum Wiggins.
Hello there.
And Robert E. Felice.
I'm also here, yes.
We are all here. We have all picked our rosters, 100 people apiece. It was a hell of a lot of fun to go down there. Lots of momentarily hurt feelings when somebody would be able to steal like yeah, you got Randy Savage, or damn it, you got Mick Foley, or whatever it might have been. And we all have some pretty damn great rosters. Going through and making my card, I'm looking at your cards and your rosters. I don't know what your cards are yet. It's the first one that we're going to be recording out of the three of these. And this was difficult, man. I don't know if you guys are struggling as much as I struggled, but I mean, we recorded about a week ago, the mock draft, and currently right now it's the 4th of October when we're recording this. We're doing these in advance. And I might have redone my card like 8 times or so. Because I had a list of some, okay, I know I'm going to go with this match, I know I'm going to go with this one, and I know I'm going to that one. Only a few that I knew were pretty much set in stone. But even then, I had a lot of variety that I could have worked with, and that started switching up a couple other things. And I found myself in positions where it was like, I don't know what to do with Damian Priest. I think I need to change the entire card. Like, you know, it was sort of weird. Are you guys struggling quite a bit?
I mean, it's always going to be a struggle when you're dealing with 100 of the greatest names in wrestling history. But yeah, it's been a really fun process, but it's always going to be difficult.
Yeah, it's taken me a few attempts to like mix a few people around, saying, "Oh, I really want to do this match, but I also really want to do that match," and that involves the same people. So it's like there are some that were kind of like really fixed for me, and then a few just like light bulb moments went off towards like the end when I did have the same plan that I felt a way that could make it better and incorporate some other people. So yeah, it's been a process, but it's been an interesting one.
So how we're gonna do this is a little haphazard, but and it might be easier when it comes to these two guys. At least mine's kind of all over the place. So I'm going to break down my card here. In another video, Callum's going to do his, and another video, Rob's going to do his. We're going to, dedicate like the proper amount of time and, kind of give people a chance to like analyze those instead of just throwing it all in one big, long, super long video kind of thing. And we don't have like the ability to run these matches on WWE 2K22 or anything. We might visit that in the future depending on how things go, but at least for now this is mostly explaining our thought process and why we decided to go with these certain matches. And if you've worked out the storyline or if you've worked out who wins the match or whatever, then that kind of supplemental information. You might not necessarily need to have that. You don't have to go like, okay, this feud would have started at Survivor Series and it goes with whatever. Then they cut this promo, but that's, a little bit too superfluous. But I personally am going to break down a 2-night WrestleMania scenario because I just could not get myself to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to make it one big card that was around a dozen matches, and I found myself at one point having like 27 or so matches, and I'm like, I can't do that. So I broke it up the best way that I could, and I tried to balance out the card, and I'm going to not only explain the card itself and all the information that I could do with it, but also I'm going to put in some stuff here and there that's going to be alternative ideas that I had just to see what you guys think about some of these things that I was like, I can't do that, but that would have been really good. And like Callum had said, like, I wanted to do this person against that person, but this person is against somebody else, so now I can't do that one. So then what do I do with that one? What, that kind of deal. So as we're explaining these on our different videos, drop a comment below if you're listening to this on YouTube or watching this. you're going to see some stuff on the screen. I'll be editing a little bit later on. You're going to see like my full alphabetical list of everybody that I have available to pick from. And then eventually I'm going to have a little thing that says like the card itself. So at the end of this, you're going to be able to like not have to just remember everything. That'd be a little bit too difficult. And I'll show the card stuff for these guys too. Like I'll do a screen share on Skype that you guys won't see on YouTube or whatever. But drop a comment below. Tell us your thoughts on this. Tell us your thoughts on alternative ideas. Because if you do what we've done with different pay-per-view cards where you've been like, I would have booked this person and then it's that person. Then we go, oh my God, light bulb moment, that kind of thing again. If you're enjoying this, hit the like button. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. If you haven't done that already, click that little button. Ring the little notification bell as well for those email alerts. If you want to help us grow and you want to support us in any kind of monetary way, there's a couple different ways to do that. One of them is the thanks button right next to the like button. You can join the members only stuff on YouTube, which is the same as the Patreon. Both that and the Patreon have the Pick Your Poison tier where you can directly finance an episode if you really want us to do something in particular. Like I just mentioned, if you really, really want us to try to get into some like WWE 2K22 footage, I don't know how we would film it, but like we would, do our best to try to do that. Or, hey, now you guys book from somebody else's card, or, like there's some variety when it comes to that. The whole point of Pick Your Poison is you get to pick. And there's access to the Darkcast tiers. You can pick up merchandise on TeePublic and Redbubble, anything that you guys do to help us grow. And that includes just listening to this episode. It's all greatly, greatly appreciated. We're going to talk about a sponsor a little bit later on that'll help with that too. But I think that we should just kind of get this started because I got quite a bit I got to get into. I'm going to start with a question, though. Who do you guys think... 4 is kind of the answer. Funny enough. Who do you guys think was my number one priority to try to figure out something to do with?
The Undertaker. Like, you had to figure out.
He was my number one pick.
Well, the greatest card of all time means nothing if you don't have the greatest main event of all time to anchor it. So I think you had to have the best thing possible for The Undertaker.
So that's your guess. What's Callum's?
I'm going to say that you struck... Well, I'm trying to think. Absolute priority. So it's the one that you want to find a really great match for?
Like the one that I sat down and said, I have to start with this person.
Oh, okay. I would say that was Piper.
So... Piper was not the number one. He was around the number 5 or so that I had. My process was I had taken everybody that I had in order of the picks, and then I reordered them in like a semi-priority kind of deal of like, I know I need to make sure that I prioritize these people. The other ones, some of the other, like I'll spoil like it wasn't as big of a priority for me to figure out what to do with Tommy Dreamer. Like that, obviously, because he's not as big of a deal as somebody like an Undertaker or Roddy Piper. The number one person that I found myself going, let me build around this and see what I can do, was actually Brock Lesnar.
That's more realistic, I guess.
And
yeah.
I had ideas for different people. Like I had ideas for Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, and Brock Lesnar was not as high up on them on the picks, but I found myself going, yeah, I know I could do a lot with them. What do I do with Brock? So keep that in mind.
How do you... Well, like, I think if I had Brock or if Callum has Brock, it's like, oh, well, we know what we're going to do with Brock because it's Brock. He is an anchor player, you know what I mean? Like, Brock Lesnar.
Well, the thing with Brock is that he's got so many things that could be really cool.
Yeah. I just spoil that I knew what I was going to do with Lesnar if I got him.
What would that have been?
I would have put him against Walter.
I thought that might have been the case.
That was like, yeah, this match is going to be the biggest murder that you ever see. Like, the biggest double murder that you're ever going to see on TV. It's just 2 people beating the shit out of each other, one with suplexes, the other one with chops. And I just thought, okay, that would do. But then you took Lesnar, and I was always going to take Walter anyway. So yeah, I found something else for him on my card. But yeah, I'm interested to see what you actually came up for him.
So he's going to be about the 9th person we're going to talk about, though, because I put him in order of how the card would break down. Out of my 100 people, I found a spot for everybody but 13. And it kills me that I couldn't figure them out.
Unlucky for some, yeah.
Yeah, unlucky number, too. I had thought about doing like a lumberjack match scenario or something to incorporate those people, but there's some other things that are a little bit too crowded, and I was just kind of like, not everybody makes the WrestleMania card, even if it's a 2-night thing. It just happens. So,
spoiler, they do on mine.
I was really hoping to, and I came very close to it, but I just couldn't do it without like justifying. Okay, and then here's another, 6-pack challenge, or here's another whatever, that kind of deal. I really tried to limit myself when it came to that, and in some ways I kind of failed. But I think there's going to be some matches on this card, these 2 cards, that you guys are going to be a little bit surprised about, funny enough. So, oh man, I'm all over the place when it comes to these notes. But let's start off with night 1. And we're going to start off with the kickoff match. And the only reason why this was a kickoff match is because I went, oh shit, I wanted to have 9 on per card and then 1 kickoff match, and I have nowhere else to put this, and I don't want to sacrifice any of the other ones. So it just by default becomes kickoff. It is a mask versus mask match. Kalisto versus Jushin Thunder Liger. I have no idea what the story is.
That's kind of a big stipulation to put on saying that you haven't thought that story before.
I have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah, I am assuming most likely Kalisto is the heel, and that Liger is the veteran. Because remember, we're also picking from, for anybody who might be just forgetting on how the mock draft worked, you can pick people from different eras, and you can kind of play around with, like, it's fantasy booking. So you can fantasy play around with this. It's not like this is Jushin Thunder Liger right now in 2021. It's the collective bevy of his career, and you can kind of mesh and whatever. So, if somebody says to you, like, hey, the character Batman, you don't have to be like, all right, well, Michael Keaton's like 70 and he's playing Batman. No, you could take Michael Keaton from back then. You can, whatever, that kind of thing. I know I always meant Michael Keaton for Batman, but like, Kalisto, like my favorite version of Kalisto is pretty much just like regular Kalisto, the guy that should have been like the successor to Rey Mysterio. But, if he's going to have to be a heel here, he'll be heel Kalisto, like the super cocky, I'm the greatest luchador type, and Liger could just be like, kid, nah, that kind of deal. Like, so of course, given the set of how this is working out, Kalisto loses. If you're going to take the mask off of one of these two, it's going to be Kalisto. And he's going to be dishonored and disappointed that he lost, and get a little bit humbled from the veteran.
Okay.
I like it.
Why not, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say the only difference is that, well, just based on what we know about history, Liger has wrestled without a mask on. So he probably could get away with that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, play around with whatever it is.
I will say, we were very nice to each other during the draft, but how the hell did you not hand Jushin Thunder Liger over to Callum so he could properly take care of him?
It's fine. I have a stats cruiserweight division, but I couldn't fit all the cruiserweights on this anyway, so I don't know where he would have ended up.
And realistically, with the way that my cards played out, whoever I would have potentially gotten instead of Liger, I don't know if I would have found another spot for them, because there are some big anchor people that I was just like, all right, I don't know what I would do with them, and they're in, multi-man setups and stuff. So what probably would have happened in whatever that scenario would have been, based off of like what your roster is, Callum, like if you would have, I don't know, let's say instead of that, instead of Liger, I would have gotten who's somebody that's like around the same range as when you had picked. Where did I pick Liger? I picked Liger
75th.
76. All right, so like, I don't know, like Shane or Chavo, or like maybe I would have gotten Zack Ryder instead of Liger. Zack Ryder would have just been in this one other match. He would have just been a guy, and so would have Kalisto. So I would have just not had that kickoff match. So that's our kickoff, and then we start with something that's going to need some clarification. A tag team championship tournament semifinal match.
Ooh, tournaments. I like tournaments.
Yeah.
I had a list of tag teams that was like maybe 24 names long. And some of them, of course, overlapped. Like, you know, there's Ted DiBiase Jr. with Ted DiBiase Sr., but there's also Ted DiBiase Jr. with Cody Rhodes, but there's also Ted DiBiase with Urban R. Shyster, but there's also, you know, like that kind of thing. But maybe about like 30 tag teams. And I tried to whittle them down into how do I want to make sure that these teams get paired together or whatever. Found myself thinking a tournament would be a great way for me to determine who really gets on the card and who doesn't. And then I actually booked the tournament. I found myself just being like, oh, then this person beats that person and that leads to that and whatever. So not everybody gets on the card because you just can't fit everybody. And I thought about doing this as like a dark cast, but then I thought, yeah, we can do another dark cast type deal. So I'll give a little bit of a breakdown in some ways, but the Usos beat the Good Brothers. The Viking Raiders beat the Bludgeon Brothers. That was a match I really wanted to try to do. Viking Raiders versus Bludgeon Brothers. I thought that could have been cool. Not enough space for it on this card. The most likely Nation of Domination in some fashion. I didn't really necessarily clarify who, but D'Lo and somebody would have lost to Cody and Dustin Rhodes, which I have renamed, instead of the Brotherhood, they are Roads to Success because I like my puns. Money Incorporated beats the New Age Outlaws in the first round. We will go back to that. Miz and John Morrison beat the Fashion Police in the first round. DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, beat Andrade, Cien Almas, and Santos Escobar, a tag team that I think could be very cool with the idea of they both had masks that they took off. They do that for their entrance. They've got Zelina Vega. It's kind of merging Legado del Fantasma and the whole Almas and Garza and Vega type pairing. Owen Hart and the British Bulldog in the first round beat Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. That would have been a hell of a match, I'm assuming. And another first round match, Edge and Christian had beaten the New Rhythm and Blues of
What's wrong with you?
Double J, Jeff Jarrett, and Greg the Hammer Valentine, where they try to get it to work and they just can't work because what the hell? You know, that kind of a tag team would be ridiculous. And it's a first round thing. Okay. So we're leading to yeah, it's something I thought would have been funny as hell. I originally had Bodacious Bart and Bombastic Bob in that spot, and then I thought about that idea, and I'm like, I like that better. That's funnier. So we get through this tournament thing, and we get to some fun matches here and there, like the Rhodes against Money Incorporated. We get DIY against John Morrison and The Miz. We got Owen Hart and British Bulldog against Edge and Christian. We got the Viking Raiders against the Usos. Just going to be some fun matches leading up throughout the course, like heading towards this this pay-per-view. And we end up with our semifinals, which the first match of the actual pay-per-view is semifinal match number 1. The Usos against Dustin and Cody Rhodes. There is a running theme in this tournament of the Usos and Edge and Christian and the Rhodes and whatever. It's this whole brotherly kind of thing, because that's what tag teams are all about. They're all about, you found somebody that you are connected to enough that you're practically related to each other. And when you've got the Brotherhood against the Usos, not only do I think that would be a really just kick-ass match, but I don't have them as Goldust and Stardust. They're Dustin Rhodes and Cody Rhodes. We know how good both of them are, and they put up a hell of a fight against the Usos, but the Usos win. And it's not necessarily a statement of like, yeah, well, they're better brothers because they're twins, but like, you can read into it a little bit, you know? It's more so because I think that the Usos have a better finals match against one of the other two teams. But I think you start off with the Usos against the Rhodes brothers, and you can't go wrong. How great would that be?
Yeah, Sounds pretty damn good. I love me some tag team wrestling, and that sounds like put a lot of thought in that one.
It does sound like a lot of fun. I do want to say I'm sure we will be seeing a lot of tournament style action on these cards because there's 300 people across all three of our cards.
Yeah.
But this was very fun. I can't believe I was wondering what's he gonna do with Bart and Billy, or not with Bart and Bob. But I'm like, okay, New Rhythm and Blues. Yeah, I got it.
Double J and Greg the Hammer Valentine, where Greg the Hammer Valentine is not fucking liking it. He's like, I didn't like this before. I don't want to do it again.
I don't like it now. Yeah.
But Double J is pretty much just a combination of Ric Flair and Honky Tonk Man. So it's like, he doesn't have the roadie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what he says on his Wikipedia profile. Basically a combination.
It might be. I'm going to go change it right now.
It's amazing that you didn't put Jeff Jarrett with Rockabilly or something like that. You got through it? That's cool.
I will say there was a split second when I was writing down my tag team names and trying to figure out different trios where I was like, I could do Rockabilly and Road Dogg and Double J, and I'm like, but I can't. I just realistically can't. So I would have played the different eras as well. And even though this would not fly nowadays, Hulk Hogan's on the card. And what is Hulk Hogan? If you really go with the best possible times of Hulk Hogan's career, you got a twofer going on. It's either NWO Hulk Hogan, or it is American Pride. I am the top of the whole movement type of thing. We're going old school with Team America against the Foreign Fanatics.
Yeah, oh no, I knew it was coming.
You're going to be able to get some things on this card.
You put Jinder Mahal on the other side against him.
Yes, I did.
And Iron Sheik.
So
let me have a look at this fucking list. Then I want to see what racist conglomerate you've got together here. All right, so it's Hulk Hogan, Lex Luger.
Yep.
How many is it against?
It's 4-on-4.
4-on-4, right? So it's Hulk Hogan, Lex Luger. Let's have a look. Oh, you put Haku on the other side as well, haven't you? Maybe.
Nope.
Oh no, not Haku. You put
Big
Mark
Boss
Henry on
Man
that.
with Hogan though.
Who?
No, it's that.
Big Boss Man.
Nope. Big Box Man was in the running, but I switched him with somebody else.
Mark Henry, you put on that one.
Nope.
You haven't put Mark Henry. Okay.
Okay.
I know you put. You must have put William Regal on the other side.
No, funny enough.
You didn't put. Oh, right. You haven't put Roddy on the other side.
No,
because you could use Roddy for something better. Looking through these now. Who's big super American guy?
So if we're going based off of like what my original lists were, I don't have this list up anymore. But when I had broken this down, I figured I'm probably going to do something similar to this, and I had down William Regal, I had down Savio Vega, I had down anybody who wasn't like this quote unquote conservative red-blooded American type or whatever like that, because I was just like, some people just fucking love that, they eat it up, let me just give them what they want.
Hold on, how do you sit here and go, I've got Hulk Hogan on the card, all right, considerations for opponents, Savio Vega, yep, that's...
Well, see, I had just written down, like, all right, here's everybody who could have, back in the day, been given some racist gimmick. That's what I had done. And I didn't want to saddle some of them with it, obviously, and I wanted to limit it to, like, 4-on-4, because I wanted to do better things with some other people, but...
Hey, hang on.
I'm trying to look at now, so, okay, you've got, let's see, I'm looking through. I've looked through a bit now, and then I've kind of got an idea about maybe some of them. So you've got Hulk Hogan, Lex Luger. Is Jack Swagger on the American team?
Jack Swagger is.
Yeah. On the other side, you've got Jinder Mahal, Iron Sheik. I imagine one of them potentially. Oh, I had them for a second. Where have they gone? Santino Marella?
Nope.
Oh, okay. See, so it's Luke. Oh, yeah. So I'm kind of stuck. I'm kind of stuck on the other.
Before we got on here, that you doubled up on people.
No,
right.
But that's for the tag team tournament, I imagine, for the most part.
And something else.
Okay.
Motherfucker, hold on. Did you dare say, I know, I'll make the Undertaker wrestle twice, and he'll be the American Badass on this team.
No, not at
No, he
all.
hates
American
the American
Badass is
Badass.
never going to be a part of any kind of fantasy card of mine.
Is
Okay.
is Sheamus on the Foreign Fanatics then?
Sheamus is.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, so is Braun Strowman on the American team?
Nope.
Okay, I'm just thinking of like big, beefy. Okay, so I've got three and three.
Yeah, you have Hulk Hogan, Lex Luger, Jack Swagger. The fourth person on that team is Diamond Dallas Page. He's not
I
super,
thought of that one. Yeah, I thought
he's
about that
not
for a
super
second.
American or whatever, but I couldn't find another spot for him. And I had some other people that could have been in the mix, and I was just like, yeah, you know what? DDP. It's part of Hulkamaniacs, part of Team America kind of thing, whatever. He's from New Jersey.
G.I. Bro on
Nah,
that team, Tony. You got Booker T.
I got something else for Booker T. Booker T. And the Foreign Fanatics are led by Iron Sheik, and they consist of Jinder Mahal, Sheamus, and Apollo Crews. Because
I forgot
Oh,
they're doing it.
oh,
They're doing
God.
So it's not even just a racist gimmick. You're doing a fake racist gimmick as well.
Yeah, okay.
because I was just like, we're going all around different eras here.
How about
And
Razor Ramon? You could put him on the
for who?
Foreign Fanatics. Razor Ramon.
Razor
Put him on the Foreign
Ramon.
Fanatics.
But see, that's the thing is, there are a lot of people that could have fit into this, which was astonishing when I started writing up the list. Because, I mean, technically speaking, I could have gone with Canadians. I could have gone with Kane. Everybody I wrote down that wasn't like born in America kind of a deal. I was just like, let me just make a whole big list. Even if I know I'm going
is Kane gonna be on?
He could be on the foreign side. He's
He
born
would-
in Spain.
technically speaking, he could have been on the Foreign Fanatics. But,
Well,
like,
technically speaking, he could have been All-American as well.
But this was a very quick, like, I wrote down all the names and then I went immediately and no for like all this, because I'm like, there's no way in hell I would put somebody like Kane on that. It pretty much started off with, I've got Hulk, I've got Iron Sheik, let me fill out the rest a little bit later on. And I couldn't figure out anything specifically I wanted to dedicate for Luger or Swagger or whatever. I'm like, all right, it's starting to form, like that kind of thing. So you got a 4-on-4 tag team match. It's certainly not elimination because we don't need to waste too much time on this. It's how you expect that this would have gone down in the fucking 80s,
No, because if this would have gone down in the fucking 80s, Hulk Hogan would be in the main event.
Well,
against
yeah, but if
something much better.
this would have been in the 80s in like one of those pay-per-views where they think that this is the main event, that kind of deal. And it ends with, Hulk Hogan being all fucking waving the flag and whatever. Some people are like, that's wrestling to me. It's not for me, but I want to try to take out some stuff from different eras. And I really didn't want to dedicate like a whole Hulk Hogan versus somebody in the main event for the WWF Championship kind of deal or whatever. I'm like, nah, we got better matches we can do. So keep him in here, let him do his shtick, and play around with that concept a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you, buddy. I'm not going to touch that one.
Yeah.
Particularly.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah.
does not fly these days. You do not book that on a 2021 mentality.
No,
but
that's a sad thing. It does still fly these days, and that's the sad thing.
I guess you could say that too. Yeah.
Cody and Anthony Go-Go.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow. Yeah, that's right.
If it was these days, you'd put Cody on the team. Kane would have been on that team waving the American flag.
Yeah, Mayor Kane.
American, Jesus.
So let's get into a match that's actually like good.
About time. Joking.
I had a lot of options that could have happened with Roddy Piper. He was somebody that I was trying to build a little bit around. So Callum was right that he was a priority kind of person. I ended up going with Dean Ambrose versus Roddy Piper.
Hmm.
And I originally had it
I like
down as like a no holds barred street fighty kind of thing. And then I said, no, you know what? It's better if they've got rules that they can break.
Yeah,
And
that sounds about right.
You just see this kind of match as like, they're both fucking with the referee. They're both doing things like, they've got the referees like back turn because they're pulling the turnbuckle and then they poke the guy in the eyeball when the referee's not looking. Like, this is like dirty fucking asshole wrestlers against each other. And I'm leaning more towards the idea that Piper would be the babyface between the two. And Ambrose is kind of like, not so much like the younger guy trying to prove that he would have been better in that era type of a thing or something, but you could just as easily do the opposite because they're both like more so tweeners than anything else, as opposed to like a clear-cut babyface and heel. And the fans, they don't need to pick. They can just be like, I like that guy. I like that guy. Let's just see what happens. I'd probably go with Ambrose winning, just getting, the DDT on Piper in some fashion, but you can flip a coin. People are going to enjoy it no matter what.
Yeah, that's a fun fantasy match.
Yeah, I would like to see the build to that match.
Just the promos alone, like you get Piper doing Piper's Pit with Ambrose on it, and you get the Ambrose Asylum with Piper, and like, let them be creative. Let them do it. Don't tell them that they need to cut a promo about, oh, I need an injection because this crowd's making me sick. No, let them be them, and just, full blown creative control. It'll go off the rails for sure, with the way that they are. So we have another tag team championship tournament semifinal match. This is DIY's Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa against Owen Hart and the British Bulldog. I can't imagine that this wouldn't be fantastic.
Oh yeah, it'd be excellent.
And the ultimate winners, by hook or by crook, mostly by crook, Owen Hart and British Bulldog managed to win. Because Owen Hart most likely does some kind of like a real piece of shit roll up kind of thing or something on like Gargano. Yeah, put foot on the ropes, like some kind of thing like that. I just picture Owen being like, woo, like just fucking all happy, like, yeah, we fucking beat him. And it's like, oh, that Gargano and Ciampa had that one, like referee had been knocked out, they had a pin going, like that kind of thing, whatever it might have been. But Owen and Davey Boy get to the finals there. Really was difficult for me not to go with DIY against the Usos, but we'll get to the,
Well, I feel like that's indicative of like your era. Because there's some people who, if they have Owen's not a tag guy,
Owen was somebody that I was trying to figure out a singles match for. And then I was like, you know what? I can't really figure out anything for Davey Boy that feels good enough unless I put him in the tag team. And I had some other people that I couldn't figure out what to do with that I was like, if I go with like Owen against, say, like one of the matches that I had in mind was Owen against Chris Jericho. And I really wanted that match to happen, but then I'm like, but then what do I do with Davey Boy? Like, I don't want to have him just, in one of these multi-man match type scenarios. Because he could have been technically a part of the Fire and Fanatics thing. I didn't want to do that, but I always liked Owen and Davey Boy together.
Yeah, it's
good stuff.
Another great type of match. I have to ask, in your fantasy booking, how many Slammy Awards is Owen Hart carrying to the ring?
Too many that he can't carry them.
Okay.
Like that he probably has like a cart that he drags along. That would have probably been a gimmick. Almost every year would have been like Owen, if we're saying that this, like, we're living in this fantasy bubble where people can exist for like 30 years at a time. Owen probably would have made it to the point where like it would have been assumed that he would have stolen a Slammy every year, and then once in a while maybe he like won a Slammy and he's like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, actually I won one, what the hell? But that's my Owen, is King of Hearts, holding the Slammy Awards with the championship as well, going in front of the British Bulldog, in front of the camera, kind of deal. Like, Owen's so good. And my Gargano and Ciampa are full blown. They got the pat themselves on the back. They can wrestle for 2 hours and everybody's going to love it type of deal. I didn't specify. My Usos are essentially modern day Usos, but baby faces. Because I think that now they really, really know what they're doing. It's not like the Siva Tau, but maybe they do still do the Siva Tau. You can merge. Urge to merge is real. So here's a match you all knew was coming, because it's become a trope of mine. And it's like, I had to do it even if I didn't want to. And I didn't want to.
Here comes the big man buffet, right?
I didn't want to do...
All you can eat, baby!
I did not want to do the big man buffet. And I tried so fucking hard not to.
All you can eat!
But I ran into a spot where I had about 5 matches that would have came out of it. And I just said, I don't have the time.
All right.
Like,
Okay,
All right, so
we got some choices for this one. So how many men are in this big beefy boy match?
there are 6.
6.
okay, so it's Braun Strowman.
He is one.
Vader.
He may be one. There's an asterisk.
Okay.
Okay.
Umaga.
He is in it.
Rikishi.
Yep.
Mark Henry.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
There's the last one. And the other asterisk.
Oh, where Big Boss Man?
No, I actually I had him in there originally. I swapped him.
Is it Haku?
Haku is the asterisk.
Okay. So there's one other one. Who's the other big beefy boy that you got here? They don't seem to fit. Unless it's I.R.S, but I assume you wouldn't get I.R.S. Oh, you haven't actually used Great Hammer Valentine? Because
it would be him though.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I'm trying to see who another big guy is. Priest?
Nope.
It's fucking Bob Holly because he's a super heavyweight.
Oh, what about the Godfather?
No, not Godfather.
Hold on, no, did I get it? I didn't
No,
get
you didn't
that
get it right.
Oh, you did.
It's not Bob Holly.
I was in the main event because he's in with the belt.
Oh, wait, is it Corbin?
No, Corbin was another person I was thinking about, but I ended up putting him elsewhere too.
Okay.
That would have been funny if my card would have been Bob Holly beats everybody.
Is it Kane?
It is Kane.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
you couldn't think of anything better to do with Kane?
Originally, the matches that I had separately were Braun Strowman against Kane with like the best of like their, you get Kane in his prime, you get Braun Strowman when he really, really is starting to know what he's doing, and you get the Monster Among Men against the Big Red Machine in a last man standing match. That was one idea that I had. I also had Haku against Umaga. And I really wanted to keep that one, even more so than Braun against Kane. Because I thought Haku against Umaga would have just been like that they're, really going at it against each other. Rikishi, I tried originally to get Rikishi and the Usos in a 6-man tag before I started doing the tag team tournament idea. And I just couldn't figure out a triple threat kind of scenario or whatever that, or a 6-man tag, not triple threat. Nothing seemed to work. I had thought like them against the Nation of Domination, like Mark Henry, Farouk, and D'Lo. And then I was just like, I don't know. Not really feeling it, that kind of thing. So when I started to whittle this card down from like 25 matches or so, I was just like, well, if we do Braun against Kane and we do Haku against Umaga, whatever, we're kind of hitting the same beat a couple times. Because there is still another match that is similar to that sort of vibe. So I'm like, here I am going with Big Man Buffet again. So it's Braun Strowman, Kane, Mark Henry, Rikishi, Umaga, and either Haku or Vader. Because we have to figure out who's having the other match.
I mean, you got Sting on your card. I wouldn't have put Vader in the Big Man Buffet. I'd have found something for Vader.
I think I might know what the other match is that you're putting one of them in, but we'll see as it goes along. Yes.
So it's Big Man Buffet. They beat the shit out of each other. They're big guys. Maybe you make it a last man standing match just to kind of merge that idea with the Kane thing. And that's how you can take people out. Like, each person gets like a big means to get taken out of the match or something. But winner being either Strowman, Kane, or if Vader is in it, Vader. But leaning more towards Kane winning this one than anybody else. Big Man Buffet, it's going to end up happening most likely.
Yeah. You're nothing if not consistent.
Yeah. And it's like, I felt bad not having it on the card originally because I'm like, well, people are expecting a Big Man Buffet at this point because I've joked about it for every fucking fantasy card that's ever been. So I'm like, all right, let me do Big Man Buffet, let me roll into my my trends. Oh, it is the way that it is. It's fun, gimmicky match.
I like it. I mean, definitely, it's kind of the crux of this whole thing. Once you get down to a certain number of people, you
got to do
you're
big
just big
multi-mans and stuff.
buffets.
And I wanted to have Big Boss Man in there because it's like, the big man buffet, the big boss man buffet, like that kind of thing. But I have another spot for him. So we're going to do a first women's match here. And this one is for insert whatever you want to call it. There's 2 women's titles. Maybe you go with WWE and Championship and the Universal Championship, because maybe you don't do Raw and SmackDown, whatever it might be. But this one is Mickie James against Toni Storm. Just good.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's about as straightforward as you can get, but I'd watch it.
Toni Storm, of course, she, at this point in her career, is still quite young in comparison to Mickie James. And we're going to see how her career goes in different directions. And, maybe she'll have some different characters over the course of the next bunch of years or whatever. But she is a young veteran. And Mickie James was somebody who, when she first came into WWE, she very quickly became like the best that they had. So I always thought Mickie was underrated. I think that Toni Storm is somebody that they are going to be able to bank on for years to come. And it's just, hey, Mickie knows what she's doing. Toni knows what she's doing. And I just want to say it more than anything else. And if I looked at my list of my potential women's champion matches and everything, I had some other ideas in mind, but I'll spoil that. Like, for instance, I could not figure out how to get like Xia Li on this card, or Naomi. I had thought about maybe Naomi and Rikishi and the Usos and some kind of thing. And I'm like, nah, I can't do that. Ended up being Mickie James versus Toni Storm. And I think it's just like, I don't know. It'll be really good.
I'm
no idea
shocked
about the
you
feud.
could find a spot for Naomi, but the match itself sounds really good. Mickie and Toni sounds like a match I would want to see.
Where are we at here? We are at... Okay, so here's where we get to the asterisk. It's either Vader or Haku against Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, see, that I knew it was Brock Lesnar as soon as he was down to those 2.
And I'm leaning more towards that it's Haku.
Ooh. I think I'd rather the Vader match, but the Haku thing is so intriguing.
I think Vader would be the better match.
Vader's the bigger match, but then I'm like, if you build Haku enough, the reputation behind Haku is insane. Like, there are people that do interviews, and I forget who it was. It might have been Sergeant Slaughter or something. Maybe it was Godfather. Somebody had said on one of these interviews when they were being asked, like, oh, who's the toughest person in like pro wrestling? And it's like, oh, it's Haku. Like, everybody just keeps saying, oh, it's Haku. And somebody had said, it might have been Duggan. Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, it might have been Duggan. That they had said, if I was in a tank up against Haku, I would jump out of the tank and run.
Mm.
And I'm like, you know what? If Haku's got this reputation and Brock Lesnar is this, UFC champion that beats the tar out of people and everything, I want to see what these two people do against each other. In this, like, you build up Haku as like, nobody can beat Haku because he's the toughest son of a bitch out there. But then Brock's out there. But then again, you got Vader with his history. You can't go wrong with either one. So that's why I'm like, whichever one doesn't get in there gets in the big man buffet. Either one of these could be a killer match. And quite literally a killer match. Somebody might die in one of these,
Yeah.
Oh my God. That sounds like a lot of fun. Like a 93 Vader against like
Brock from a couple years ago.
Yeah, like, because it would have to be like City Brock at this point, just because Brock murders people. But like, maybe Brock when he was feeling as ballsy to just like try to jump over the ropes onto Cena, like that Brock against the 93 Vader, somebody might die.
Yeah, and like you get Haku healthy, and you properly build him so he's not just like this mid-card act who might win a tag team championship kind of deal, but you build him as like this unstoppable force that like had beaten the Undertaker kind of a thing, whatever. Either one, okay, Lesnar, you go fight one of these two guys, and whoever makes it out. You might not even necessarily book a winner. It's like maybe this person wins if you can get to that. If the other person takes you out in the meantime, then I guess we'll roll with the punches kind of deal. Like, that's just going to be like a war. And I don't know if you want to make it like a street fight or something, or if you don't even necessarily need it. You can kind of have it just be that they do what, like Dragunov versus Walter didn't need to be no DQ. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So to offset that with our main event for night one, this is, the art of pro wrestling. It is the WWE Championship match. Mr. Perfect goes in as champion, because he should have been champion at some point, against Shawn Michaels. It's Shawn from when he's returned, where he's learned a lot of lessons. Of course, if you can take the mind that he has now and put him in the body of like 1996, I guess, right. Like that kind of setup for Shawn. Mr. Perfect, probably like 91, maybe perfect.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like you get cocky Mr. Perfect against cocky Shawn Michaels. Shawn's, of course, the babyface between the two, because Mr. Perfect is better when he's a heel. And it's like, this is the type of match where you can get Perfect does something perfectly and Shawn can get out of it.
Huh. It's because with a guy like Shawn, you're left with, okay, what am I going to play with? Do I have him play to the asshole side of him, maybe the political side? Do I play to the wrestler side? You've clearly chosen to play to the wrestler side of Shawn Michaels. And, I mean, yeah, they have great chemistry together on the microphone. In the ring, I think, in real life, we always saw clashes because both were so similar that sometimes it's like the same size of a magnet kind of thing. But I'm sure, it would be a great match.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have no question about how awesome the match would be with both those two in their prime. I think it would be just an absolutely awesome contest. My tentative issue is I don't think that's a big enough match for the WWE Championship.
In my ideal scenario, Perfect's been built up the way that he could have been. So he's like...
Perfect's not the issue I have with that.
Shawn is?
I never thought Shawn flattered to deceive as a main event guy.
Huh.
I always thought, well, his championship run coincides with the worst period of WWE's history in terms of just
right now?
booking ability. Well, no. Well, okay. Previous.
Yeah.
I have Diesel. He's talking about Shawn.
Well, yeah, I know. Diesel was the worst, but Shawn
came out of that.
It's not Shawn that elevated things after that point. It was
Austin.
It was Brett and Austin. I'd say Brett was a bigger deal with that as well, because it was the Hart Foundation that really set the catalyst going for that.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say. That's an awesome, great, brilliant Intercontinental Championship match for me. I don't think it's. Yeah, I mean, looking at your list, like there are people that I would probably put ahead of them in like quote unquote main event status, but I can't like question the actual reasoning of putting that match together. If it was me, it's not WWE Championship.
But this is also night one,
right?
Which
there are still some big names.
That seems quite interesting to me. That's night one, and you decided to put the WWE Championship match on that. Which makes me quite interested about what you're doing with the main event in night two.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, that's the curiosity. My curiosity is piqued because you decided to go with that as night one.
Because I think one of the reasons why you go with this on night one is because if you are a dedicated pro wrestling fan and you want to watch pro wrestling for pro wrestling, this is one of your matches that like just in ring product. Whereas people that are a little bit more on like the spectacle side of things, maybe you don't know what it's on night one and night two when you're watching, and maybe you want to kind of carry on with some other matches or whatever it might be. But like, I'd imagine you walk out of night one watching this. Shawn Michaels as a babyface wins the championship for Mr. Perfect, by the way. type of thing, and you go, wow, how are they going to top that on night 2? And then, of course, you try to top it on night 2. Yeah, so HBK wins championship for Mr. Perfect. It's there's no gimmicks to it. It's no Iron Man match. It's no whatever. It's just a straight up match. They get to do what they want to do. Now, before we move on to the rest of my card here, I want to take a brief moment to talk to you about our sponsors for this episode, Manscaped. If you use the vanity URL manscaped.com/smark, SMARK, just like the website, you can get yourself 20% off and free shipping on everything that's on the website. That means whether it's something like the Performance Package 4.0, which is an all-in-one grooming kit with everything that you could be looking for, or it could be something as simple as replacement blades for your crop shaver. You know, everything that's on this website, we've pretty much tried out. We give our big seal of approval, and I can tell you right now, we're recording this in advance, but I am for damn sure happy that I have these products going on right now because, as I've mentioned before, we're recording this in advance because I'm going to be having my wedding and my honeymoon. And I can tell you one thing, the Ultra Smooth package, the crop care kit, these are things that are very beneficial. My fiance, now my wife, when you're listening to this, which is crazy, is a big proponent of this. She has talked from the start of us getting these type of products that she was like, I'm going to buy some for some other people. I'm going to get some other things. Like, she really was a big fan of the shears kit, the luxury nail kit, the Shears 2.0. I can tell you with all certainty, I'm definitely going to be using that weed whacker on the night before my wedding. So when she's looking across the aisle from me, she's not seeing some big gross nose hair sticking out. And, you know, the thing that I can recommend to you more than anything else is to go and try some of these products out here. You know, if you've got this promo code stuff going on where you can go to manscaped.com/smark and you can get that 20% off and that free shipping, take advantage of it. Try some stuff out. We wouldn't be telling you to do it if we didn't believe in it. The reason why they're able to trademark that whole advanced skin safe technology kind of deal is because it works. I haven't been cut from a single one of these things. And after trying a bunch of these things in the past and having that kind of an issue, this is something that I'm going to continue to keep using these products going forward. And I think that if you try it out, you'll do the same thing. And hey, if it's working for me and I'm getting married, you know what I mean? So keep that in mind. Go to manscaped.com/smark, use that link, and get yourself 20% off and free shipping. We want to thank Manscaped for sponsoring us. We want to thank you for picking anything up, which is going to help out the channel quite a bit as well, because then Manscaped knows that we are the ones that sent you their way. So now let's get back to the pay-per-view card. This is my oddest match of the whole thing. It's the kickoff tonight too. And I really have no real rhyme or reason for it. I just was like, you know, I'm going to add another kickoff match onto here. And it was between one of these two things. And I was just like, you know, I'll go with the match that would be a better match rather than the gimmicky one. The gimmicky one that I didn't go with was something that I thought, how do I play into media kind of stuff? And this is a dumb idea. And this is why I didn't put it on there. It would have been a potential thing that I had been cooking in my notes was AJ Lee against Zelina Vega as a tie-in to if this would have released around Wrestling with My Family. Because Zelina Vega plays AJ Lee in the movie. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I don't have Paige on my card, so what the hell am I going to do that for? And really, why would I put that on a massive card of all time kind of a thing? So I was just like, no, okay, that's just like, you know, a little fun thing that's, I don't know, WrestleMania week or whatever. But I ended up going with Gail Kim versus Rhea Ripley in a kickoff match. Mostly just because I think that'd be good. Gail Kim's worked really well with Awesome Kong before, and imagine what she could do with somebody who is the height of Rhea Ripley and has the mobility of Rhea Ripley.
And the vocal chops when she's not on Raw.
Yeah.
No real big story here. Gail Kim's babyface, Rhea Ripley's heel. You know.
Yeah, sounds like a nice match.
Yeah. I'm with it.
Then we get another tag team match. This one is maybe an elimination match. I couldn't decide if I wanted to go elimination or not. But this is kind of the offset of that whole Foreign Fanatics, Team America type of thing. And it is D-Generation X, where it's not exactly how D-Generation X had played out. It's kind of reminiscent of Survivor Series here, because I just couldn't figure out another way to do this. So it's a little bit wonky, but, you know, during that tag team tournament, we had the New Age Outlaws lose to Money Incorporated, because Money Incorporated had been able to get somebody that they financed to help them progress in the tournament. And that started a feud between them and the New Age Outlaws. And this has been, you know, Money Inc. gets some people here and there. And then D-Generation X has to be like, okay, well, we gotta recruit some new people as like tentative members of the crew kind of things. And you got X-Pac as the leader of this group here, because I don't have Triple H or Shawn Michaels in this match. They could have easily been the two other ones, but I'm like, you're cramming too many big people in here. But X-Pac is leading D-Generation X alongside Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, and I will say their two other tag team partners in a moment, against Money Incorporated. Money Incorporated consists of Ted DiBiase Jr., Erwin R. Shyster, you know, you got Pops and the Kid, the Trust Fund Kid, and you got their tax guy who, like, you know, makes sure that everything's all kept up and up on the books. You've got Ted DiBiase Jr.'s buddy, who he does, like, you know, he spends a bunch of money with and is like a real asshole to everybody with. Robert Roode. A little bit of some fortune type of stuff going on here.
Well,
and it's like,
that was his gimmick with Miss Brooks.
Right.
Yeah. When it was Robert Roode, when he was feuding with like Eric Young and stuff like that. So yeah, he was a
rich dude.
He was the money part.
The money part of Beer Money, yeah. And even though that's TNA, we know that that's history of his career, that he has that in him, and it's Robert Roode. I mean, even like the Glorious thing, he's got the robe and everything like that. So, you know, we know that he can do it. And
I know who the other one is.
They're go ahead and guess.
EC3.
I thought about it, but no.
Oh, it's not EC3. Wow.
I was going with EC3 too.
EC3 was in the mix until I thought of somebody else.
Huh.
I thought. Yeah, take another guess.
I don't know if I can now. I was so like assured it was him.
It was EC3 up until like a night ago or so, and then I swapped a couple things.
It's Cameron Grimes.
No, not Cameron Grimes. But Cameron Grimes would have been funny if that would have been like that too.
Is it Austin Theory?
No.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, originally I had this down as Robert Roode, EC3, and Ted were a trio of like, you know, three like rich jerk kind of characters.
You can't put Jinder Mahal in again.
Hold on. Wait, is it Happy Corbin?
It's not Happy Corbin. Fuck that Happy Corbin thing with that. No.
I'm struggling to find anyone else that's like got the quote unquote rich guy gimmick. There certainly is someone else that's here, but like, I can't think of them off the top of my head.
Well, you already used the Miz, so it's not him.
No, I didn't.
No, he hasn't used the Miz yet.
Is it the Miz?
No.
Yeah, I assumed that he was going to do something with Jordan. Is it Jerry Lawler?
No.
Okay.
Ah.
All right. So I'm gonna tap out then.
I wanted to do a specific dedicated match with Jerry Lawler. I couldn't figure it out. Actually, at one point, one of the ideas I had was Jerry Lawler and William Regal in that they're two kings, and Regal's king of the ring and that kind of thing. And then
You
I was
also
like,
have Booker T.
yeah, I could have done like some, you know, King of the Ring kind of mashup sort of deal without Brock or something, you know. I didn't have a Virgil. So they needed some hired security, and they hired the big boss man.
Oh, that's where he came from then. Okay. Oh, that's fair.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I can take that. Is this which iteration of Big Boss Man are we thinking? Are we thinking Corrupt Cop, or are we thinking Security Guard?
Kind of like you take the Corrupt Cop, but you put him in the Security Guard like authority, or not authority, corporation right. Kind of gear. So it's like he's got that tactical gear, and he's like a real bastard, and you know that he's taking the money because he always takes the money. He's the type of cop that like he'll beat somebody up and plant evidence on him, you know, like that kind of thing. And it's like Yeah, he lost his security gig because he had roughed up some people at the prison or whatever. That's why we're going to hire him to be our heavy kind of deal. And he's the guy that fucks over the New Age Outlaws in that tag team tournament thing because he is possibly introduced as WWE security. Just an idea.
Fair.
But he's the Virgil replacement. So it's Ted and I.R.S. and Robert Roode and Big Boss Man against X-Pac, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg. And they're like, man, Triple H is too busy and Shawn Michaels is too busy. But we've got some buds backstage that we hang out with every once in a while.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Matt Riddle and Damian Priest.
Not two people that I was not thinking of. So yeah.
Who were you thinking?
Oh, I thought Razor would be one of them.
Yeah, I thought Razor was one immediately. And then I thought Savio Vega, because Savio Vega has done stuff with it was the DX replacement in the previous thing. So
I mean, Razor and Savio were on my tag team list. It's like I could do that if I wanted to do this, but I'm like, nah, I'm gonna put Savio somewhere else and do something else with Razor. But Riddle and Priest are definitely bros. Like, not only have they been having lots of segments where they kind of like bump into each other backstage and everything, but also Priest had talked on about like who he's like a road guy with, and it's Riddle. Like, they are just friends. And I figure who in like the modern era could have been in DX? Riddle and Priest probably would have been. So it's kind of like how CM Punk and the Hardy Boys had been in that Survivor Series thing with DX, where it was like, all right, they're not DX, but they're kind of like DX-ish, some temporary members. A little bit more so of a cohesion than Tori was, and, makes more sense than some other people like Hornswoggle. But they're brought in not really like as like, you are in DX and you are now going to tag with us all the time. It's more so like, yeah, Riddle and Priest, can you help us out with these fuckers? And Money Inc., of course, are like the stuffy jerks. DX are the rebellious kids with their fucking, you kids, I'm going to throw some money at you and get the law to beat you down kind of thing. DX has some fun. DX wins. They beat Money Incorporated. Pretty straight up. Could be an elimination thing, but probably not. I think you're going to waste time if you do eliminations. I don't think anybody's going to look at like, I.R.S. gets eliminated first and Road Dogg gets eliminated first and whatever. And it's like, you might have a little bit more fun if it's just like 5-on-5. So that's that set up.
Yeah.
I think that could be pretty fun.
Interpretation. Yeah, interesting interpretation.
I liked, in particular, I liked the idea of Money Inc. and throwing in Roode and Big Boss Man. Once I started to play it around with that, I'm just kind of like, okay, I like that. This corrupt security guard instead of Virgil. Because I never bought that Virgil was a good, like, heavy for Ted kind of thing, or like a back, like he's going to back him up kind of thing. But Big Boss Man, I could see it. He's big. He's a boss man. We get a regular straight up singles match. Y2J type of era Chris Jericho against kind of an amalgamation of the Architect and the Messiah, Seth Rollins, where Seth is the heel who Jericho can make fun of. And this is like a very good wrestling match with their types of characters and everything. It's not my favorite on these two cards, but it is something that I think you could have some fun with leading into it. And it's pretty straightforward. It's just Jericho and Rollins. And probably Rollins wins. I want to give some wins to some heels.
Yeah, just a match that would be very good with both in their prime.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see them doing this in like actually doing it at Mania in like 2014, 2015.
And not like the current modern day Jericho, not quite the current Seth Rollins, but like maybe that kind of like he's a little off with the way that he thinks about himself kind of deal with Rollins. So Jericho can like poke and prod, and Rollins is best when he's like the angry heel that you can kind of make fun of a little bit, Then we go into a tag team match here that this feud kind of spawned a little bit from the tag team tournament as well. The Miz and John Morrison with Maurice as just, some backup against Edge and Christian. And I think that this could just be like, Miz and Morrison are great characters as a tag team. Edge and Christian, they know what they're doing as a tag team. They can be great characters. This could be a lot of like the Gaga type of fun stuff, including just to get under their skin. They're able to get Melina to come out and fuck around with John Morrison and have a little bit of a scrap with Maurice. Even though Maurice, of course, is with Miz and not with John Morrison. But it's like, couldn't find a spot for Melina, and it's just kind of like, oh, we're going to mess with John Morrison here. Miz has Maurice with hey, we're going to bring out your ex, like that kind of thing. And Edge and Christian beat the Miz and John Morrison. I could see a lot of fun promos leading up to that.
I like it. I think Edge in particular had graduated to a level a little bit above random tag match. But quite honestly, all 4 of these guys at one point in time graduated to a level beyond random tag match. So it's a fun match.
It's hard to figure out a spot for Edge when you've got so many of these people and you don't feel like I can't let somebody go and do that and then also let Christian go and not have anything for him. And I'm like, all right, it's a high profile enough match. And I like Edge and Christian as a tag team.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that some of their best work is as a tag team anyway. And I think it's unlikely that you put Christian in a prominent match if you weren't going to team it up with Edge.
Right.
So I think it's actually to his benefit that he decided to go with Edge as well in that match. It's not saying I'd throw it together just because I don't rate Miz
right
in a high profile enough match. So, but yeah, I can see it working.
And this is another one of those things where I mentioned before, like the tag team tournament was very like brotherly heavy. So it's like Miz and John Morrison, they're not like, oh, we're brothers kind of thing, but they're close as all hell. Edge and Christian, pretend brothers, the Usos, Owen Hart and Davey Boy are related to each other. Like, yeah, there's a lot of the Rhodes and brotherly vibes and stuff. Then we're going to have some fun here. We're going to have what I'm calling the Lightning Round Royal Rumble. We got 30 people, and it's 1 minute per entrant because you can get it in 30 minutes. Not going to take a full hour to do this. I think I have my layout the way that I would put them. So, not the eliminations, but the entrance. At the very least. And of course, maybe this would change and it's not fucking happening anyway, so who cares? But, we're going to start off with, hello, ladies. Val Venus is going to do his whole fucking shtick. Crowd's going to be all like, woo, took off the towel, woo. And D'Lo Brown is going to come in, cocky as all hell, head bouncing around like a bobblehead. They're going to be joined by Austin Theory, who is going to be the guy in this match that starts off very towards the front and ends up towards the end. Because I think that Theory is a guy that I'm banking on that in a couple of years. This isn't one of those things where it's like, and that didn't plan out. But I think that Theory is a guy that like you could see main eventing WrestleMania down the line. Prince Pretty comes in here. Good old Cameron Grimes comes in as well. We got Doink the Clown. We're getting very gimmicky now with some like colorful characters because what is the Royal Rumble really? It is 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Who's the person who came out? Wow, I popped. That's fun. They come out, they do a couple moves. We wait until the next person. Realistically speaking, the Royal Rumble is not a match that it's like the in-ring quality is where you're going to go. So this is very gimmick heavy. This is throw everybody else in there that I can possibly throw in there, but I ran out of spots. That's why we don't have like everybody in here. And obviously I didn't throw in like, Naomi in with the men. I could have if I wanted to. I could have done an intergender thing, but I decided not to. So you got like Doink the Clown. You get Damian Sandow coming in here. You got Carlito. He, spits the apple in some people's faces, whatever. You got Greg the Hammer Valentine. He is Greg the Hammer Valentine here. Is not doing the rhythm and the blues type of thing because he lost that first round. He's not doing that anymore. Jerry the King Lawler is in here. Bart Gunn is in here. I don't know which one you want to go with. You could go with Smoking Gun kind of version. You could go with the Boxer, whatever. He's Bart Gunn. He's just a guy. PowerPoint presentation, Drew Gulak. He comes to the ring explaining with his PowerPoint presentation how he knows that all these rules of the Royal Rumble should follow this and that kind of thing, because that's my favorite Drew Gulak. I loved the PowerPoint presentation stuff. Eventually, you need somebody to come in here and to clean house a little bit. And that would be big old Luke Gallows. I think that Luke Gallows is a guy that it's a shame that things didn't work out a little bit differently with him. And I always thought that he could have been a little bit higher up on the card. So he's going to get like that Diesel house cleaner spot. What does everybody want? Well, he on BTE is always talking about ejaculation or whatever like that. So he's followed up with Al Snow. Because everybody wants that. They got either Hardcore or Spark Plug Bob Holly. I don't know. Which one's more fun?
Assuming that you have Vince on commentary, Spark Plug, just so I can hear him say, "Start your engine."
Start your engines. Yeah. Maybe it's Spark Plug Hardcore Bob Holly. I don't know. We got R-Truth. We've got Fandango. We've got Carl Anderson. Just, throw him in there. We've got Booker T. And he's like, wow, okay, Booker T, big guy coming in here. He's going to actually be somebody you can start thinking is going to win this match, more so than anybody else. William Regal, couldn't find a better spot for Savio Vega, Santino Marella, which, of course, Santino, what's he going to do? Quickest elimination, probably. Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
I want him to do that spot where he throws himself over the top rope in that Battle Royal with John Cena and Triple H. It's one of my favorite ever wrestling clips.
There's so many options you could do with Santino. You could do the Cobra. You could do... depending on who's still in there, like, if Doink is still in there, Doink and Santino working together, Santino and R-Truth, Santino and Jerry the King Lawler. Like, there's so much you could do with all these different types of people. Just kind of let them... Obviously, some people aren't going to contribute as much. Like, I can't imagine Greg the Hammer Valentine's really going to be like, and this is the fun thing that I'll do, but he'll be just one of the guys. And, a guy like a Cameron Grimes, he might have something more fun that he could do. So we got Santino, we got Double J, Jeff Jarrett, because Double J is my favorite version of Jeff Jarrett. So he's got the blinking lights and everything. Then a Hurricane comes through, Hurricane Helms. You got Ron Farouk Simmons, because I think that you should kind of not have just Ron Simmons, not have just Farouk. Certainly not the Blue Armor Farouk, because that was just awful. But this is like post Nation of Domination, has a little bit of APA in him kind of guy. Godfather comes in after that. He is Godfather. He is not Kama Mustafa, because Godfather's more fun. Probably does the whole thing with the Ho train and just kind of comes in and comes out, because that was pretty funny in the past. Tommy Dreamer comes in. He's in a spot that it's kind of like, all right, we're winding down here. Third to the last is EC3. Couldn't make him in the top 1%, but he's in the top 10% at the very least. That's at least top 0%, and third to the last. Spoiler type of guy. I always like when you get somebody at the end that is like, oh no, that guy's gonna win because he's big and whatever. Baron Corbin, where it's like he's gonna start tossing some people left and right. He'll take out like a Fandango. He'll take out like a Hurricane Helms. Whatever that might be. And our final person, I always like when you get somebody who's kind of like, oh wow, cool, that person. We had just seen him the night before as Dustin Rhodes, but he pops out as Goldust.
That's fun. I'm kind of envisioning myself watching this, and it'll be a good time. Some nice little pops.
And we get down to our final four is more so a final five, because it's kind of quick with some things. But our final five are Austin Theory, Double J, Farouk, Baron Corbin, and Booker T. And with a little bit of like some chutzpah, Austin Theory can eliminate Baron Corbin, who can help out Double J to take out Austin Theory. So our final three are Double J, Farouk, and Booker T. Booker T is able to take out Jeff Jarrett, and we're down to Ron Simmons and Booker T gets the win. I like the babyface Booker T from the end of WCW kind of as the winner here.
All right. I like it.
Fun little gimmick match.
And he ends the whole thing with a spinneroonie in the ring.
Yeah, you get that fun little pop. You get like a lot of colourful characters come in. Yeah, it is an interesting thing to do, like a Royal Rumble at WrestleMania.
Like a gimmick battle royal, but mixed with a Royal Rumble, but it's lightning round speed, kind of 60-second sort of thing, just to kind of, because you can't make it like a full Royal Rumble.
I'll say it's harmless fun. I will say though, and this is just a personal thing, you stole William Regal from me.
Yeah, and I couldn't figure out another thing
to put him in this match.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I had Regal down as like, you could have Regal against a lot of other people or whatever. Then I was just like, he came towards like the end and I'm like, crap, I can't figure out another way to put Regal against another person that I would prioritize over that. And, it's hard. It's hard to do this. So Booker T wins. He, of course, has spots here. Like, he and Goldust can team up just to kind of reference that, whatever it might be. You can get the Bombastic Bob and Bodacious Bart teaming up for a moment, whatever you might want to do. That takes care of a good chunk of people. I still ended up not being able to get Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, Andrade, Santos Escobar, the Viking Raiders, the Bludgeon Brothers in this, because I didn't want to have like 40 people in a Royal Rumble. I was like, nah, it's just too much. It's already.
Hold on. Is that to say that you didn't get Andrade and Santos Escobar on the card?
Yep, I did not get them on the card.
Ugh.
It sucks. I know. As does the dog barking in the background, but I can't do anything about it.
Well, you pissed the dog off because you told the dog that you got. No,
I got the British Bulldog on the card. Come on, give me a little bit of break, Rosie. So with this lightning round Royal Rumble, that's like, oh, okay, wow, like, we just went through this crazy, gimmicky, all these colorful characters type of thing. Let's get into like more of a wrestling match again. And that's where we get into our tag team championship tournament final, the Usos against Owen Hart and the British Bulldog. Legacy type stuff, second generation type thing with like Owen Hart, whatever, like, and it's babyface Usos against heel Owen and Davey Boy. And the Usos win.
Sounds that right? It's a very fun match, yeah.
You don't have the New Day, but I would say the Usos are one of definitively the best tag teams of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I had the New Day, some of these things would have been probably a little bit different. There would have been a 6-man with the New Day and somebody or something. I don't know. But Usos against Owen and Bulldog, I think, would be a hell of a match. They know what they're doing. After that, we've got a match that I didn't think that you guys would be able to guess ahead of time. For the Universal Championship. Yeah, it's coming third to last, funny enough.
All right.
It is Triple H.
Mm-hmm. I thought that was one of the names I thought was going to be in it.
Against Razor Ramon.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that kind of makes sense, because you've always said that he should have been a world champion.
And oh my god, this dog is just gonna keep barking. That fucking mailman, I guess, But the story here is, we know the history with the Clique. We know the history of Razor Ramon's substance abuse problems. We know Triple H was the guy that was like the responsible one in the Clique and everything, and that he has had his times with like the Authority and with Evolution, where like the power has gone to his head. He's been the King of Kings and whatever. And Razor Ramon's the bad guy, and it's diving deep into like personal feud type stuff. It's Triple H being like, I'm tired of babysitting your ass, and Razor Ramon being like, I'm the fucking bad guy. I get it. I know, but also I've got a lot more heart than you do, you fucking bastard. Like that kind of thing. A lot of, even though Razor is quote unquote the bad guy, he's the babyface here, and Triple H is this domineering. Razor could be like, man, what happened to you? You used to be cool. And Triple H could be like, I grew the fuck up and you should too. Like that kind of like biting promo type of stuff. And I'm leaning a little bit more towards the disappointment that Triple H wins.
It's very true to life.
Yeah, that seems about right.
But it's like part of me does kind of want to go like, and then Razor wins, and we get to have Razor gets a world championship, and Perfect had been a champion going in, and like that kind of thing or whatever, like that. Like it's kind of I don't know.
What you're telling me? Triple H beats the babyface minority at WrestleMania? Never see that coming.
Right. But I wanted this to be the Universal Championship match instead of the WWE one, because I figure Perfect and Michaels, that seems like WWE Championship type stuff, like Perfect holding that the Winged Eagle, and Triple H is like company man, Universal Championship, So this is just a regular match. There's no gimmick behind it. I don't want to throw too many gimmicks. We just did a fucking lightning round Royal Rumble. I think we're fine with gimmicks, for a little bit. And
I like this. I feel like this is a match. Had Scott been able to, actually
get everything together,
substance abuse, like we would have seen this in those exact ways. Like, yeah, I used to be in the clique, but I grew up, and you really should have by now too. I think that would have been a lot of fun. I do have to say, you chose your 2 world championship matches for probably your biggest fantasy fan booking choices.
I mean, it's a fantasy card.
Yeah, but I mean, like, while I know what you're thinking with something like Hogan leading the All-Americans, these 2 matches seemed like, all right, this is what I want.
Yeah.
This is what I would have done, because Mr. Perfect and Razor Ramon should have been world champions.
Yeah, I did not want to do this as what would WWE have done. Because I started working down that path of like, okay, well, Hogan's champion because, he's Hogan, and who's he going to fight? It's probably against somebody who's like a monster. It's probably Hulk Hogan versus Brock Lesnar or something. And, like I thought about doing that. Then I'm like, nah, fuck it. I want to see like Brock against Haku and like whatever. And, started playing around more with that. And I'm like, Triple H, Shawn, Razor. Razor was not in the title picture for me originally. I had like some other kind of things in mind, but when I started playing around with it a little bit more, I'm like, oh, you know what? Razor and Triple H, we didn't get to see that in their primes. We got to see Hunter Hearst Helmsley still like starting around, trying to get his bearings against Razor Ramon, who was leaving the company kind of deal. And now I want like 95 Razor Ramon against Triple H from like the body that Triple H has in like 2000 maybe, and the mindset of like, what if Trips now could book the match kind of deal. Biggest asshole, biggest like, people are like, oh, come on, Razor, beat that guy. You got your act together, go beat him. Like that kind of,
Yeah.
And then he fails.
And possibly fails, yeah. Because, I mean, sometimes that happens. But possibly wins. I don't know. I got a lot of babyface happy kind of moments here. There's really only a few where it's like, Seth beats Jericho and, that kind of deal. But
So you're down to 2 matches.
2 more matches left.
Okay, I know what both of them are. So
yeah,
I mean,
you can go ahead.
there's not many people left.
One of them is I couldn't figure out an opponent for the other one.
Oh, I'm 100% locked in on what the other 2 are, so I'm not going to spoil it because I know what it is, but I know what it is.
Yeah. So right after that match, we get an announcement that there is a surprise from the general manager. If we go with Triple H retaining the championship here, which was where I was leaning, hey, you're getting challenged by somebody else here. And Bob Holly comes in. No, I'm just kidding. No, so we go.
I thought you were going to say Hulk Hogan comes in.
No, we actually go to a women's Universal Championship match.
Bob Holly comes out. We give him
Bob Holly's the Universal Champion for the women's. If Triple H is the Universal Champion for the men's side of things, who's the best person that represents the idea of the Universal Championship for the women? It's Charlotte Flair. And it's Charlotte against Bianca Belair.
Bianca.
Yeah,
I don't know how
exactly.
it's Charlotte, but it's Charlotte Bianca, yeah.
Now, back in the day, if this could have been that we could erase our memories of seeing a bunch of these matches, it probably would have been Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. But I thought more about it, and I'm like, you know what? Not only have we just seen that enough that if I say that, it's going to be like, well, we've seen it. What are you doing, Tony? But I also think that Bianca Belair will have a better match with Charlotte Flair. And we've seen them against each other at NXT, but we haven't seen this Bianca against this Charlotte Flair. We've seen mostly this Flair, but we haven't seen this Bianca. And Charlotte Flair's the queen. She's the champion, that kind of deal. This is probably one of the reasons why I would lean towards maybe Razor doesn't win the championship, is because probably Bianca wins and beats Flair. It is what it is. Out of the women's options that I had, I could have done Mickie against Charlotte. I had thought about that. But then I started playing around with the Mickie James versus Tony match, and I was like, I kind of like that one too. And I thought about Gail Kim versus Charlotte, and then I thought that's probably not going to be as big of a deal unless you're a big fan of like the TNA side of things, that you know that about Gail Kim. So yeah, there were some options. I could have gone AJ Lee for that era. She was big in that era, but that's AJ Lee against Charlotte is not going to be probably as good as Bianca versus Charlotte. And when push comes to shove, Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair, that probably should be one of our championship matches for WrestleMania next year, but we're not going to know if that's going to be even a possibility until later on tonight when we do our night 2 of the draft that's happening today. Because remember, we're recording this in advance on October 4th, so we have no idea how that's going to go. But I am currently salty that at least right now, that they are on separate brands, because, given the options, this would not have been my all-time ultimate main event for the women's championship if I had everybody from all our 3 rosters. But for my roster, I think it's the best option. And I didn't want to do like a fatal 4-way or something. Just give me Flair versus Belair.
Fair enough.
All right, and realistically, there is no other match that should have ended your WrestleMania.
Go ahead, Tony.
So, as much as I wanted to put Jerry the King Lawler against Cameron Grimes here or something like that, it's Undertaker Sting.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It's Undertaker Sting.
It's simple, it's clean, it's easy.
You get
the match that everyone's wanted forever and ever. Right.
You get the 2 dark characters against each other. It's the reason why this is the end of night 2 is because this is ultimately it's WWE. You get the sports entertainment. So you get the sports first with Shawn Michaels and Perfect, and you get the entertainment. Well, I mean, they're obviously sports entertainment too, but you know what I mean. Like, they are more athletic in the ring type of stuff. Undertaker Sting is a little bit more of the character kind of stuff. Sting is a little bit more of a babyface, but not quite. Because I don't think Undertaker is best when he is full blown heel. I think Undertaker's best when he's like, all right, that guy should basically be a heel, but he's a babyface. You know what I mean? Like, I like my Undertaker as, I'm talking about digging holes and fucking taking your soul to hell and whatever. And people are like, and fuck yeah, you are. And it's like, nah, that guy's evil, And Sting being like, oh, I got to go to this dark place to beat the Undertaker, and the Crow gimmick mixed with, the Undertaker's phenom, because of course he's the phenom. He's not the fucking motorcycle type of thing. I don't want to see any motorcycles involved in here whatsoever. Not in the slightest bit. Save that for other things. Have him feud with somebody else down the line, whatever, he can do that. But now we were getting tombstones and fire and creepy trees and snow and just lightning, all this kind of, all the gaga, all the pomp and circumstance. And I thought about making this a gimmick match. I thought about making it a casket match more than anything else, because I do love casket matches. They're fun. And I thought about making it last man standing. I thought about making it just no DQ, buried alive, or anything. And then I thought, they probably don't need it. Just kind of let them do their thing. And it's going to end with Undertaker winning. So your 2-night WrestleMania ends with Undertaker shaking hands with Sting and then doing his pose. You got lightning all over the place, and all right, go home, everybody.
Yep, sounds about right. It was a match that was just there and I think it'd be wrong to have not gone with it. So
yeah, imagine if I would have gone like Undertaker versus
wrong, yeah.
Road Dogg or something. Like,
yeah. I mean, you could have done Lesnar. That was always great.
Undertaker, Lesnar, like, you know, if I wouldn't have gone Undertaker Sting, Undertaker's options pretty much would have been like Kane, Lesnar, maybe Umaga, maybe Haku, maybe Shawn again, you know, like, but Undertaker Sting. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a bit of a fantasy draft. Like, for the most part, you want to do matches that you haven't seen before.
Yeah. And not matches they haven't seen because it wouldn't have made any sense. Like Undertaker versus Jimmy Uso could probably be a great match. I don't think it's going to main event WrestleMania, you know? Oh, yeah.
Very fun cards. You were very inventive with them. Like, you did some things I would not have guessed. You did some things I would have, like, you know, the Big Man Buffet and stuff like that. But a lot of it was very inventive, and I found myself genuinely intrigued, closing my eyes, thinking, how would I feel if I was watching this? And I, like, for certain things, like, I found myself getting mad that, how dare you eliminate Austin Theory and not build a young star, even though it's fucking fake, and I'm so preconditioned to that mindset. Like,
I did have Theory as a potential winner until it came. I was like, wow, I want to give that spot to Booker T and give him the Spinneroonie.
And then you think, yeah, you know, Hunter and Razor, I can see why you'd probably lean towards Hunter winning. You got Perfect and Shawn, which is, for you, I'm sure, an important match because Perfect should have been champion. There's some flatter notes, like Rollins and Jericho being what they end up doing, or, you know, Edge being an Edge and Christian against Miz and Morrison. But, like, that's the way the cookie's gonna crumble sometimes. So,
yeah,
all in all, I liked it.
I had some ideas that, like, I didn't go with. Like, Piper was pretty much like, all right, is it Jericho? Is it Edge? Is it Ambrose? Mostly those were the ones I was going with Piper.
Yeah.
I had thought about DX, like the Michaels, Triple H, X-Pac, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, and even potentially Razor against 6 people, and I couldn't figure out. I'm like, that's a lot to pack in there. And you're losing Shawn, Triple H, you know, like that kind of thing for that could have been singles matches. And there's no 6 people that made sense. Haku Umaga, I had thought like Rikishi versus Carlito and like you know, what's cool kind of thing. I had thought Booker T versus Owen Hart. I thought Jericho versus Owen. Shawn Michaels versus Sting was the thing I was playing around with a little bit. Shawn and Triple H against Ciampa and Gargano was something I was thinking about too.
That'd be fun.
I thought even separately, Shawn against Johnny, Triple H against Ciampa was something that was like, that could have been cool too. Shawn against Brock Lesnar was another thing I was thinking. Played around with a little bit of the Click and the NWO, but I'm like, wait, Razor and X-Pac are on both sides. How do I do that? Jericho and Perfect was something I was thinking about if Perfect wouldn't have been the champion scenario. Shawn against Robert Roode, Brock and Sting was something I thought about a lot. Where it's kind of like you replace Vader with Brock.
Yeah, I would have liked that.
HBK and Triple H against Ambrose and Rollins. I thought maybe Undertaker and Sting Undertaker and Kane teaming up against Sting and Vader as just like this kind of the big red machine, Kane. Then you got Vader on the other side, and you got Sting and Undertaker, and you do like the Brothers of Destruction against Sting and Vader. They're not brothers, but it's like, you know, they had their big rivalry and that kind of thing. And I'm like, nah, that's kind of, you're wasting a little bit there if you do Undertaker Sting solo. Lots of different ideas, but that's what I ended up with.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not much else to add.
It's very, very good, you know? Like...
it's going to be a fun show. Let's book it.
I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have on your rosters. I have been tinkering around with some ideas of matches that I would think that you guys potentially could do that could be fun. Obviously, I'm not going to say that now. But that's how we're going to be doing this. And then for anybody who's curious, like once we wrap up doing all of our personal cards with, you know, when we're stuck with our own roster, the next thing that's going to be in this series is going to be us consolidating our rosters and going with our top 150 most likely people And then after that, we're going to have to play nice with each other to sort out these kind of things and bounce around ideas with each other. So then we're going to figure out like the best possible card that we can with everybody. So something like I didn't have AJ Styles to work with here, or I didn't have, Bret Hart. Like I would have loved to have Randy Savage. I would have loved to have the Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, the New Day, like different kinds of things. But I didn't. So this is what I had to work with. And that's Callum's not going to have the same people to work with. Rob's not going to have anybody but the people that he has on his roster. That's what makes it a little bit difficult, on top of the fact that it's like, once you start making these lists and you go, oh my God, I've got 15 matches and I still haven't used somebody like a William Regal. And you're like, how do I not have a William Regal thing here? And then they're like, I can't make everybody in the main event, like this kind of thing. Yeah, so drop your comments below. Tell me what you think about this card that I made up with the people that I had. You can see from the past episode, you can see from the beginning of this episode, what was on the table for me to work with. Tell me what you got in mind. Would you do anything differently? Would you do like, the one match I would do is this one and the rest doesn't matter kind of deal? I don't know. Just keep chatting it up. And I think that's it for my my stuff here. I don't think I had any other notes that I had down from just going through again, just double checking like the Lumberjack thing. That couldn't get Shotzi on the card, couldn't get AJ Lee on the card, that kind of deal. Yeah, I think that was about it.
I'm surprised you didn't get Andrade and Santos in meaningful spots on the card. But
no room. That's the thing. Yeah, I really wanted to get Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong in a tag team match too.
Well, that's the way it happens.
Yeah, those the crumbs that come from the cookie, as you were saying. Anyway, that is my card. Next up is going to be either Rob or Callum, depending on when we record and when we release things and what that is. So stay tuned for that. And of course, if you are subscribed to the channel and you ring that little notification bell, you'll know when that goes up. You'll probably see that it'll be posted well in advance for like a premiere kind of thing. So that way you can just set it on your watch later list or whatever it might be. But we will continue on with those parts of this series and then follow things on with the all-time merged roster and everything else that we had said. So if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, let me know, drop a comment, and tell me that you like this and that you'd like to see more of this kind of content and everything. And hopefully you're enjoying whatever's happening on WWE right now. I don't know what's happening at the beginning of November or mid-November or whenever this is getting released, but I hope it's good stuff. Maybe this is around the time frame that Full Gear might be coming out. So if that is the case, then stay tuned for some Full Gear stuff, not the pay-per-view point coverage. I'm not doing that, but get maybe some predictions in there or something, depending on what these guys are doing and what I'm able to do and whatever. But yeah, that's it for this part. Rolling along some plugs here. Of course, if you are following Smark Out Moment on all the different things like social media, at Smark Out Moment, but also check out fanboysanonymous.com. Follow and like and share and favorite everything that's over there too. Subscribe to that YouTube channel and check out the posts on the website. By now, we will have already done our stuff of A Review to a Kill for the James Bond stuff. Go back and check that out. We'll have some other movie reviews and everything in the pipeline. Like at some point, I'm going to watch and review the new Ghostbusters movie. Probably a couple weeks after it is out. I probably won't get a chance to see it when it's opening night. But I know. Just go to fanboysanonymous.com and follow that. Follow me at Tony Mango and follow these two guys and check out what they're doing as well. Rob?
Yeah, you can follow me at Dude Felice. Follow me everywhere at Dude Felice. It's the beginning of November, so likely there's lots of stuff going on Fightful.com about Full Gear, and we just got past Crown Jewel, so the draft is in full effect now. So whatever's happening there, Fightful Select will have all of your scoops. I'm sure a couple more contracts are coming up at this point, or whatever may be happening. And check out everything I've got going on social media and check out what we had going on in the archives where me and Callum did a ton of retro content like this. And I'm going to pass it over to Callum to tell you more about that.
Yep, you can follow me on Twitter at Wigmeister14. Check out the content on smarkamoment.com. Power Rankings is where you'll find my week-to-week contribution on the website. And as Rob mentioned, we've got some archive retro content in both 2001 Wrestling Odyssey and the Paul Heyman SmackDown podcast, where, if you wanted to check out a time where a lot of these guys were in their prime and were working constantly, then, that's where you want to go.
Alrighty, everybody, that's going to do us in for this part. And next up is either Rob or Callum, so show some love to their cards on the next episode, and we will see you there. But for now, this has been another Smark Out moment, and we are being counted out.